Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 200, 300. Where am I? I was just there.
You're not there.
All right, give me 1 second. We're going to start this whole thing over, guys. Sorry about that. My goodness. Our happy scene here. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Thanks for coming along for the ride, everybody. Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 303. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me is my good friend and dang good-looking co-host, Jeff the Riz Risden. How you doing, brother?
It is good to be with you, Chris. It's been too long.
It has. I you showed up in the video, and I just took a moment, took a sigh and a long, lingering look. It's great. All right, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Washington game. We didn't get to do a post-game show. We had a lot of other stuff. It's been the nuttiest week ever. So thanks everyone who's with us now. It's been something, boy. Guys, we're going to talk about that. We got a lot of Patricia talk. We got going to come at it from a couple of different angles, and we're going to get in there. We're just putting the December-mometer aside right now because we're in where we're in. We're going to talk about Matthew Stafford's injury. We got that, a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Riz, are you ready to go, brother?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right, a couple of quick announcements. First, check us out, help us out on Patreon. Very special thanks to Dylan from
Go on!
Woo, yeah. Of course there. And of course our very first donor, Mathis, Brian B from I Prevail. Who should we get? Jerry S. And we'll give a shout out to Matt L too. He's got to get in there a little bit. Great Patreon people hanging out with us. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Head on over there. Get in. It's like a little monthly donation thing. You set it up and you can donate to the show. Helps us do what we do. Helps us get to the Senior Bowl, pay for all the equipment, the bandwidth, all the other stuff that we got going on. You also get access to the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. And I have to apologize to those guys as well. I haven't been around the last couple days. It's been, like I said, one of the nuttiest weeks I've had in ages. And of course, it's right on the heels of being out for 24 hours on the show. I'm just like, it's just not all together.
It's okay. It's 2020. Everybody's going through some weirdness, I think is the best way to say it, the safest way to say it. And so we all are more understanding of one another than in past years. So.
Well,
always forgiven, Chris.
I appreciate that, brother. I do. So you get access to the Slack, the whole thing. It's a really, really great deal. It's a little $1 a month. We'll take more if you got it. Just head to patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast and set up your donation there, and we'll get you set up on the Slack. It's a great way to support the show, like I say, and we appreciate every single one of you folks that do that. Give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/The Detroit Lions podcast, Instagram, Detroit Lions podcast, and check us out on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. DET Lions Podcast. It's the very best place to see Jeff.
Where'd my pants go? Crap.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. YouTube.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Right now, on the daily, we're putting out clips. Good, interesting, wonderful clips from the 24-hour St. Jude telethon. We had our first one with our interview with Justin Rogers. We did two. We did an opening interview and then a closing interview with him, and he was great. He was a very, very gracious, good guy. So that one came out. We also have released the Dan Miller, Jim Brandstatter, and Tony Ortiz band back together clip. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched that, it's one of the best interviews. These guys dish. They dish. The whole Carissa Thompson thing, we'll bring that up Friday. That thing was, for Tony was... He was as red as an apple. So anyway, youtube.com/Detroit Lions podcast. Those are going to keep coming. The hits will keep coming on there, as well as these shows. Hit the bell, subscribe, you get notified, all that stuff. And also, we're going to put the later clips from this show, some other shows, all our future shows, and even also we're going to replicate the clips from the St. Jude show at youtube.com/DLP clips. We're trying to make that your spot to go for quick sound bites and quick bits of information from the show, so you can go back and refer to them again later in the future. If you want to hold the axe over our neck because we said something silly. You can do it, and it's an easy way to find it and point to it and humiliate us in front of everybody you know. So it's a good way to go. Let's see, rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Pandora, all the places you find the shows. That's where we're at. 5 stars though. If you can't find your way to giving us 5 stars, then kind of hold off, and you can yell at us in the subreddit, and we're happy to hear what you have to say. We want to make this show. It's a community show. We want to make sure it's a good show for you. And if there's something that makes you think I can't do the 5-star thing, then let us know, and we'll see if we can change it and get you on the good side. All right? Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us in the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS, 929-335-4667. Leave us a message. Get a chance to hear yourself on the air.
Tighten your chin straps, kids. It's time to review This Week in Reddit.
All right, it's time to talk about the fun and exciting things going down this week in Reddit. And first and foremost, we have to talk about, well, we beat Washington. Is this a team? Is this a team that could be a 500 team this week, Riz? I mean, we can talk about it when we preview Carolina, but holy cow, what a convincing win against, what are they, second in the East? I mean, these guys, right?
They were second in the East going into the day. Yes, they were.
Yeah, I mean, think about that.
2-6. They'd be a second place team. That's awesome.
Worthless information. 2-6. They were second in the East, and here we came up as an obvious underdog, and we just destroyed them. We owned them. Smack dab.
Oh man, we were killing them at halftime.
Woo! That's something we'll talk about a little bit. There was actually, why don't we just start off with that? What the heck? This is from Joseph Cummings.
Why not? Get it out of the way.
Came in on Twitter, and you know, I had already done the agenda for the show, but this was a good one.
It was a good one. Thank you, Joseph Cummings, for sending it in.
Yes. Can someone explain how Patricia always jumps to a big lead and then something else happens, right? And this is, I want to talk about this because this has not been the case for the Lions historically the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. The Calder era, it didn't happen, right? We were always scraping for points. You think that, what's our average points? Is it 30 this year? I mean, was this season? We've been scoring like crazy, it feels like. Defense hasn't held the other team. Okay. But we start out scoring, and then it goes away. Is it that we've got this great game plan up front, and then we get figured out, and we can't adjust? Is that really it? Every time we're super, super good at figuring out early and can't adjust? Really?
So that's part of it, and I'll throw a nod to my good friend Michael Gray, who used to be on the sports radio waves. A lot of people from the west side of the state will recognize that name. He is a big advocate that Darrell Bevell is really good at scripting the first 15 or 20 plays, and then after that he has no freaking clue. And the numbers sort of bear that out. The Lions, I'm looking at the stats right now, they are tied for 4th in first quarter points per game. They're at 6.9 points. And by the way, the number 1 team in that is Miami, which is, they are the sort of advanced version of the Lions in that they have basically the exact same game plan, but with Brian Flores as their coach, they're doing a little bit better, which is a little disappointing. So first quarter, 6.9 points. Second quarter, where's Detroit? Oh, we're down at 24th, 6.3. Well, one half point behind the New England Patriots, interestingly enough. All right, third quarter.
They're the same record as us, by the way.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Third quarter. So we're okay in the third quarter. We actually fall off quite a bit to 4.9 points, but that's, believe it or not, that's tied for 12th with, among other teams, the Chiefs. So for whatever reason, the third quarter is a low scoring.
We are as good as Matthew Stafford's as good as Patrick Mahomes is what I'm hearing.
The Colts and Ravens are also in that. And we're just above the Jaguars and Eagles. And by the way, Carolina Panthers 31st in that quarter. Only Chicago was worse.
Well, we should have it should be a defensive struggle this week in the third quarter, shouldn't it?
Right. And then fourth quarter, we jump up to it's our highest scoring quarter at 7.1 points per game, but that's only good for 18th in the league. That's tied with Cleveland, and behind, among others, New England, Washington, Philadelphia, Tennessee. The Chiefs, by the way, are number 1 there. So, and just for reference for this weekend, Carolina 27th. The Jets are dead last there. So there's my numerical research for you.
Thank you. I'm glad you had that. I didn't. It's very interesting to me. You know what I mean?
First quarter, relatively speaking, yes, the Lions do perform better in the first quarter than other teams do in terms of getting out and getting on the board. I think some of it is the fact that Darrell Bevell does script plays well at the beginning. He has a good game plan and a how to attack. You tend to see more play action early on.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my observation. That's not based on any numerical evidence there. I also think that the wide receivers a little bit fresher at the beginning of the game. I think their ability, they don't get separation. We know that. But I think their ability to shake a little bit is they're a little lither at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps a little bit. And just again, to Gray's point, they seem to have a focused attack early. And then they sort of get into the flow of the game and like, oh crap. Peterson hasn't had the ball in 2 drives. We better get him in there and get him 3 carries in a row now. The last drive, the run on 1st and 10 got a 6, so it's going to work again. And then it's 2nd and 9, and then you run again, and it's 3rd and 8. And that does seem to be a Bevell MO, and that's very frustrating. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, and it's for me. I mean, I'm with you on the scripted part, right? Because it's that first drive. And I don't know what the first drive numbers are, but I remember early in the season we were killer.
They're very good.
Killer first drive. The fact that we can't do it after that, right? We have. Our first 3 drives tend to seem to be pretty good, and then we just go away. We just absolutely go away. And there's something. I think it's more than just Bevell's play calling. I think it's more.
I agree, but I think that's part of it, though, for sure.
And here's where I think it comes down to. And, we do a brilliant job of game planning for other teams, both defensively and offensively. I think we tear them apart, and we use the data we have and the analytics we have to really, really, really do a good job understanding what's going to be done to us and what we're going to do to the other team. Sometimes we don't execute, right? Like against New Orleans, we saw it. We knew what they were going to do. We just didn't have the players, right, to beat a New Orleans team and we knew that was going to be a shootout. We knew that going in. We talked about it on the Friday the game preview show. So we kind of knew that was going to be. That's how it was going to go. We just unfortunately quit shooting there for 35 points in a row. We're too busy reloading, I guess, or the refractory period. I don't know what it was. But the idea, it is an adjustment thing to me that we cannot adjust from our game plan. And again, Ash in the Slack did a great job talking about this, and I forget what it is, but what the theory is or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh God, it's always good to have a smart Canadian.
I love the fact that he and I disagree on stuff, but we're friends and we discuss it out, and it winds up being an intelligent discussion. I love that. Yep.
Absolutely. It's to have a smart Canadian around is a blessing for anybody who gets one. The thing he brought up, and it's a thing about people who know something and have had success. When they go somewhere else or they do something and things don't go right, they double down on what they know works because they know in the core of their soul it works. And if the world around you has changed and you keep trying to do the same thing, even though it's not working, you wind up in trouble. You wind up making things worse. And it feels like that's a situation that we're in where we game plan the hell out of it and we nail it. And then we don't adjust. We don't re-game plan when they change how they attack us and we just fall apart, or we do it our reaction is extremely slow. There's something about the middle of these games.
I'll go to my old friend at 96.1, rest in peace, that station. Jim Costa used to talk about muscle memory reflex for coaches, and how Matt Patricia reflexively goes to things that he learned in New England, and when he gets a lead, he gets conservative, and instead of maybe going for the touchdown, they'll start playing for the long Matt Prater field goal. And so like, okay, we got the lead. Let's add to that lead, but let's only add 3 to it. Let's make sure we get the 3 instead of trying to get the 6.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth in that.
And I wonder
that's part of it.
I wonder how the numbers bear that out. I mean, the new concept of kind of money ball in football and more going for it on 4th down, right? Do you kick the 3 or do you go for it? I think maybe we're missing a little bit about that.
The Texans did last week and fake a field goal and punt it from the Browns' 33-yard line in a game that you lost by 3. Oops.
Oh God, get Bob
Romeo
back.
Cornell not doing a good job to get himself a head coaching gig.
Get Bob on the phone. It wasn't as
man.
bad as we thought. I'm worried that we're going to be in the same way about Patricia, but we'll talk about Patricia in a bit.
No, I do think that there's Stafford, for whatever reason, tends to come out pretty hot. He still has most games. He'll have 2 or 3 drives in a row where he's 1 for 5 and misses 2 throws wildly that he normally hits, and it just walks off and I think that's the way Stafford is. And it very rarely happens at the beginning of games. It's much more likely to happen in the second and third quarters, where it's just like, why is he missing these throws? And that's been something that's been a problem for his career. Now, that's not putting all this on Stafford, obviously, but sure. That's part of it too. When you get a quarterback that misses wide open reads and wide open receivers, not that they have those very often, but that doesn't help either.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting, and it's perplexing for these guys to continuously repeat that same problem. We're scoring again. I don't know what the average number is. We're scoring in any other than 2020. We're scoring enough points where we should be winning these games, and the defense isn't doing it. And I think there's a real inability to adjust, like I said. And this is the thing that very well may fold up the front office and the coach. And I think it's unfortunate because and people hate me for this. I think that there is talent in Matt Patricia, and I think there's a head coach in there. I think there's talent, and I think there's a GM in Bob Quinn. I just don't think that they're going to survive in Detroit long enough for those characters to come out. Again, I think about, could Cleveland have given Belichick a little bit more time? Maybe. And I'm not saying he's a Belichick. I know he came from that tree, right?
No, I understand what you're saying.
He may never have been Belichick in Cleveland either. Right.
That's very true. As somebody who lived there, then I can tell you that.
Yeah, and so Patricia, he may go somewhere and be an amazing coach in 4 years or 5 years when the stink wears off. But he may be, and I think at that time we got to look at it and say, look, none of us were willing to give him the time, and he may not have been able to achieve what he achieved somewhere else if he achieves it, right? Here in Detroit, in the way it is, and then that's something to look at. Okay, like the Browns. Right, they're finding some success now. It's interesting to watch how they're playing out because it feels like they had an organizational turn. They may have done a turn in an organizational corner here.
I'm hopeful that happens. They are 6-3. It's still not good enough for the playoffs in the AFC, but they're and what I like about them is that they have an identity that helps them win football games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure that the Lions have an identity that helps them win. The Browns can rely on all the good teams. They have a hallmark. The Browns get big plays out of their run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they have a great offensive line that paves the way for that. And it overcomes I'll call Baker Mayfield average. And hopefully the Cleveland folks who are listening don't go into hysterics on that. But they have an identity. Baltimore wins because they have an identity. They're going to read option you. They're going to use Lamar with the sneaky pass, and he's fallen off a little bit on that this year, in part because his receivers have fallen off on that.
And the rain.
But they have a way to win. Pittsburgh comes at you. They're going to blitz the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
And they're going to come after you, even on 3rd and 1. They're going to bring a zero blitz at times, and that's their identity. Last year, San Francisco got there because they could rush 4 with their front 4, and their front 4 were better than your front 5. Didn't matter who your front 5 was.
Yep.
It's not the case this year for them. Those types of teams that have an identifiable trait, something that they can hang their hat on week in and week out, tend to be the more successful over time. Where's that for the Lions? Other than Matt Prater being really good at kicking, and he slumped this year too. I'm thrilled as shit that he made his 59-yarder. Yeah. But before that,
it was pad level
in the Slack last week. I was scared, man. Is it time to find a new kicker? I posited that thought.
It's pad level
wrong,
for Prater.
But
he's just got to get his pads lower. He'll be okay. I think work a little harder, get the pads lower. He should be fine.
Yeah.
I think this is, Sean, this is right. Entering the days where comparing how Cleveland is better than us, and from an organizational standpoint, right? Think about it from like a business or something, just as a, I don't want to say, just any kind of business. It doesn't matter. Organizationally, it's a culture thing in Detroit. I really believe that, especially and just another plug for youtube.com/Detroit Lions podcast. We released our Wayne Fonts interview today from the 24-hour thing. And boy, Wayne, so another layer of inception deep. I'm sitting down with Wayne, and we're going to do the cameras come for that's coming tomorrow. We're going to do a full-blown real-life interview over a cigar and let him just tell stories back in the day. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so awesome. But that aside, he talked about culture a lot, and he talks about what they had. He also mentions about if they had Matthew Stafford, what kind of a team they'd have been, how many Super Bowls they would have won. It's a great interview. I absolutely I implore you guys to go to listen to Wayne and what he said and get an idea, because when he was there was an organizational identity and a way of living for the Lions and the way they were. One of the things he talks about is, if you got 100%, give me 100%. If you only got 80%, you got an injury or something, then give me that 80. But if you're only 80 and you give me 50, we're going to have a problem. It's not going to be okay, right? And he was able to get it out of those guys. And he talks about how, like, the first game when he was the interim head coach, they won. He was like, these guys went out there and they won it for me. I feel like they went out and they did it for me to show, like, and he was just really, really happy and touched by the fact that the players played so hard out there for him. He said the next game they lost, like, by a field goal at the end against Chicago. And he's like, what do you say to these guys? It was a heartbreaker. They played their hearts out again, and it was a heartbreaking loss at the end. And he said he came in, he said, guys, we just ran out of time. That's all that happened. We just ran out of time, and we'll be fine. We'll get them next time. But he had a culture of a very strong, supportive culture. They call him a player's coach, but he would fire guys that didn't fit in the locker room. He wanted his players, and that's what, that's why I can't fault Patricia for the Diggs thing. I really can't. You give the coach the leeway to get their locker room. If they don't succeed, well, then they failed as a coach, right? But they have that input into the roster and what the locker room is like. But Wayne, that organizational mentality, they had it there. And then Wayne left, and who came? Was it Bobby Ross they brought in right after him, or who came? Was it or Duran? Who was it that coached at? I think
I'm fairly certain it was Bobby Ross,
right? Which was its own.
He's the polar opposite of that. He is your rigid, old school. Let's do Oklahoma drills until 4 a.m. type of coach.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That was a radical change that didn't go over well. That and adding a fullback in front of Barry, even though Barry specifically said, "I don't like running behind a fullback."
Nobody else can block for him, right? I mean, they had no idea what he was going to do. Why don't you just now you're getting someone else in his way, right? Cover
exactly.
Someone else plug in the holes he's finding.
I don't understand the coaching arrogance like that. And Patricia, it's tough because we've seen it. Personally, we have seen at the Senior Bowl, we saw players gravitate towards him and like him, and want to be part of that. And we saw the enthusiasm that he engendered down in Mobile. We really did. And for whatever reason, the Lions locker room is different. Yeah. And I'm not sure that's a Lions thing. I think that's more of a Patricia adjusting to being in charge. So the piece that came out in Bleacher Report, and I forget who wrote it, and I feel bad that I did that, but I read it, and it didn't really tell me anything new, but it just sort of reaffirmed the fact that when he came in here, he did so much damage to himself. He shot off his own feet so badly by coming in and being disrespectful and profane and trying to do everything right away without ever earning the trust of the players. Yeah. And the Bleacher Report piece, again, I encourage you to read it. And Chris Burke at The Athletic has done similar posts on it, and you and I have done similar talks on it about how he realized that he wasn't getting any net benefit from being like that, and Patricia changed. The problem is that there's still some guys that were there that remembered that and resented it, And most of those guys are gone now. In fact, I would venture that all of those guys are probably gone now. And the problem is that was a significant portion of your talent base. And now you're trying to replace those guys with guys who aren't as good as they were.
Yep.
And there's only, Wayne Fonts talks about giving, if you got 80%, give me 80%. Well, if your 80% is only 50% as good as the last guy, then you got a problem. And that's why I think the overarching point is that it's as much Bob Quinn's problem that this roster isn't where it needs to be and this team isn't where it needs to be as Matt Patricia's. I do think that there has been improvement in Matt Patricia's coaching. Yeah. I still don't think it's good enough, and I would still get rid of him at the end of the year, no question. But he hasn't been helped by his GM enabler at all.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things I think that it's you have to really look at it. You know, to see what the GM's provided for him to coach.
You can't have a second round and a third round pick from a year ago that belong on the bench and are getting benched now because the coach is just like, these guys are terrible. And Tracy Walker out, and I'm taking the L on that one because from a couple of years ago, I thought he was going to be really good, and he was building towards a great year. He's been awful this year. I don't know what the hell happened.
But remember the beginning of the year, everyone's screaming, why is Will Harris out there?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he's been worse. But you can't have a second round and a third round pick in Jelani Tavai and Will Harris, and neither one of them can even be the 35th best player at their position in the league where there's only 32 teams, and they're both worse than that.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And I'm going to go to the Will Harris thing.
You can't have like Quintez Cephas, obviously a late round pick this year. He can't play.
No.
If you watched him in the last game, he left 14 points on the board.
And you needed wide receivers. We needed wide receivers more than we needed that running back.
And your fifth round running back is on the bench in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yep. That's really, really frustrating. Will Harris, though, all the screaming about him over Tracy Walker and the heat that Patricia took about, hey, he's beating him in practice. Maybe he was. Maybe that. You know what? There's a lot more to that than what everyone who gave the crap to Patricia got. And I'm not being a slappy here. I want you guys to know we now have a lot more evidence to say.
Tracy has not played the way that Tracy needs to play, and the way that I expected him to play as somebody who pimped him up hard this summer. He's gone the other direction. That's very disappointing.
Yeah,
very disappointing.
Yep. And so that's just frustrating, right? But there's so many pieces, and I know narratives get started as things go on, right? And I want to, where we can, make sure that we kind of go back and revisit some of these things and clarify them. But one of the things that we talked about with Justin in I think it was the interview that we posted. If not, the next one will come up here in a couple days. You know, it's like 12 days of Christmas here. He talked about that first year with Matt Patricia and getting off on the wrong foot and how that whole thing just wrecked his start. I mean, because think about it. When you walk into a brand new job, think about the last time you started a new job. You walked in the first day, hey, everyone, rapist, right? I mean, boom. What do you do? How do you survive that?
That was there with the media, but with the players, he walked in
but the players read that and hear that.
They did. But he also walked in and put his dick on the table and like, look at this, bitches. That didn't work.
Right. And I'm not saying, but that may have informed the way he acted. Right, because we've seen him act differently and he changed. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know what, because I don't know how I would react if somebody did that to me on my first day in a high-profile job like that. You know what I mean?
It was terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrible editorial decision to do that.
Yep. So, and again, I'm not blaming that. I don't know how much involved that was in forming how he started, because, you know, when you walk in and you have that, you have to act a certain way, right? I don't know if what he did, you know, and acted was the right choice or whatever, but he's changed, and that's gone on. We've got a long way around with how Patricia always jumps to a big lead and gives it up. But I think we'll talk really quick. So do you guys see a path that Bob Quinn stays and Patricia is fired? I think conversely, do you see a path that Patricia stays and Bob Quinn is fired?
I do see that path.
I see that as more likely as well.
I agree.
Fine. And
I don't think that that's going to happen either,
No.
but I think that's more likely to happen of the two scenarios.
The misses, I mean, you got I like Jared Davis so much. I wanted him so much to perform, but you can't spend a first round pick on a special teams ace, right? I mean, it's just a waste of capital. And if you look at Bob,
you can't draft all these slow. This is the slowest team in the NFL by design.
Yep.
That is not Matt Patricia's design because that started before he got here.
Yep.
That's a Bob Quinn thing. Bob Quinn likes big, slow players, even at the skill positions on both offense and defense. That doesn't work in a league where Kansas City's winning Super Bowls the way they are.
Absolutely. And you kind of think about that. Bob Quinn is supposed to be a specialist in scouting. That's supposed to be where he came from, and he's totally missing, just swinging a miss. In the first 3 rounds, you don't know. You don't know if you're going to get a player that's even going to be on the field in 2 years with Quinn. After that, he does a lot better. Contracts where you supposedly didn't have experience, nailing it, just freaking killing it out of the park.
That's Rod Wood. That's Rod Wood right there. Rod Wood is the contract. Well, he's not the only contract guy, but he is responsible for the business savvy of the team, and he's been great at that.
It's really.
I know there's a lot of people that are like when he came in, he said this was a big point with Big Drew back in the day when we still had a show. Yes, I'm going to be bitter about that for a while.
You can beat that.
It was like, how did they hire a guy who comes in his opening press conference and says, I don't know anything about football, and entrust him to run the football team? He knew about finances and about rewarding and compensation, and he's gotten that right.
And
the Lions they've avoided the painful contract issues. They didn't overpay for Calvin Johnson, his contract still hasn't been matched. What is it? 9 years later?
Yeah, it wasn't. I thought somebody matched it.
I think DeAndre Hopkins exceeded it in terms of total value, but not year over year average yet.
Got it.
Which is just insane.
Yep. So yeah, no, they're
avoiding that, and that's good. That's positive.
It's nuts.
And Quinn deserves credit for that. He has done a good job in managing the cap. They have flexibility now if they need to make some moves. Not a lot, but they have some.
Don H asks, is it Unlin? And I don't know what Unlin does. To be frank, it doesn't look any different to me.
Unlin, so
could you explain exactly what it is you do here? Because I would love to hear that question asked in the press room. Because I mean, I'm just not seeing a difference. I'm not trying to be a jerk, right? I'm just saying it's this, or the Office meme, right? They're the same thing. Right. The two pictures, right? Corporate wants to know the difference.
I think my hope was that Unlin would take something from the Jim Johnson school, which is where Jim Schwartz is from, and he trained under Jim Schwartz, that he would take something from that aggressive school. And we've seen it a little bit. They have put more pressure on lately, and a lot of that is Romeo Okwara, but they have also been dialing up more 5-man pressures, and it's worked. Give them credit for that.
Yep.
But in terms of overall philosophy, I don't think that Unlin has had the impact on Patricia that we wanted him to. There's been some, but again, when Patricia, when he's stressed, it's the muscle memory. He goes back to being, I'm going to rush 3 or 4, but contain rush. My linebackers who can't run are going to try to run with the tight ends and man coverage down the middle of the field, and the safeties, because they're going to be on the outside. Well, if they see something on the outside, the middle is going to be open. If they stay in the middle because the linebackers can't cover, the outside guy is one-on-one. And oh, by the way, my outside guys aren't super fast either.
No need.
And that there's only so much that Unlin can do with that.
Yeah. And that may be you bring a great point up. It may be that Matt Patricia hasn't unleashed Unlin and has just kept him under a shadow the whole time.
And I don't think we will know. And
know.
This is a tough year for it because I have not been in Allen Park, so I don't see that interaction on a daily basis or even weekly basis like I used to. But I get the feeling that Unlin has not had the impact that any of us would have liked, probably including himself, because he's pretty. Having known him a little bit before he got there, he's a pretty strong personality guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's really been unleashed yet.
Yeah. It's something. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so that took us. We went around a little bit on that one. We're still supposed to be talking about the Washington win. We'll get back to that. Let me just really quick say, hey to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Excuse me. Use
Inopportune
keyword.
cough time.
Use keyword. I don't smoke that. Keyword Lions. We got Lions for a keyword. You get 55% off. They do sometimes do sales that are bigger, but you'll get nothing less than 55% off with the keyword Lions. CBD.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Get your CBD cream, oils, the whole thing. The oil for beneath the tongue, the gummies. These things are crazy good, and they're, I mean, in all the ways. They're good delicious wise. They're good because they just absolutely give you the chill, and there's definitely a sensation.
We all can use some chill.
It's not a high, but it's something. They have regular CBD gummies, which are great for pain, anxiety, and sleep. These chill ones have Delta 8, which means they come with this warning label on the top. And these are the ones that do not operate heavy machinery and stuff like that if you use them. There's something going on with these, but boy, I sleep like I've never slept before. And they just feel good. And I mean, it's not like you can't work if you eat them or something. They're good for you. You're all right. So yeah, check it out. The chill, CBD.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. They got the oils, a couple drops under the tongue. Takes care of it. We got the cream. The cream is killer. I when I was looking at the CBD overall, I was like, I don't know about the cream. I'm not sure if I buy into it. Oh yeah, absolutely. It works great, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from folks who've gotten it. So CBD.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Use the word Lions in the promo code, and you are good to go. 55% off. Everybody that does that, thank you. They give us a kickback. Don't forget they give us a kickback. But it doesn't cost you extra to do it. They just do it because we sent you. It's a great way to go. All right. Really quick headline. If there was a John Gruden hairdo lookalike contest today, Riz would win hands down. I should have sent you the visor because then you could have done the visor.
And Chris will attest to this. I was having a bad hair moment before we started, so I just let it down. It was like one side was up and one side was down, and it just wasn't working, so I let it all down. So
it's a good look, man. You got a little Spicoli, a little Gruden, a lot of.
Before we got on, I watched an obscure Matthew McConaughey movie called Surfer Dude, with a comment in the middle.
Yep.
And I was feeling the vibe a little bit. A lot of marijuana use in that movie.
Oh.
Some nice casual nudity too.
Oh, it's always
not just Matthew either.
Did he have the bongos out, or was it
Oh, he didn't do that, but he's a stoned surfer who's avoiding the capitalist manifesto.
Do you know he used to live in a mobile home down in Malibu?
I did. So, quick Matthew McConaughey plug. He did a podcast with Dax Shepard. It's called Armchair Experts.
Yeah.
If you like Matthew McConaughey at all, even if you don't like him, I personally don't like him. Like if I drove a Lincoln, I'd be resentful that they put Matthew McConaughey in those freaking ads because they're terrible. But he is so on brand, and his stories about living in Australia and growing up with a brother named Rooster, and just it's an unbelievable hour-and-a-half ride. It's Armchair Experts with Dax Shepard. You really need to check it out. It's the Matthew McConaughey episode. I have listened to it twice. I don't normally listen to a lot of podcasts. I cracked my ass. Oh man, he's in character doing it, and it's great.
Definitely check that out. It's interesting. The mobile homes there are over $1 million each. It's down at Paradise Cove. You come down a little winding thing down in Malibu, down to the beach. Absolutely great place. The mojitos there are freaking to die for. But you go down, you get yourself a cabana down at the beach, and just spend the day. Ooh, what a good life you're living. It's great. Paradise Cove. If you ever get down there, go head it out.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Let's see. I may never get to LA again. We'll see. Okay, back to what we got going on. I want to talk about Deandre Swift. Have you heard the name?
I'm familiar with him. Yes.
Okay.
I got more familiar with him on Sunday.
Very interesting, right? And this is from Reddit. I thought I had his name down. I am so sorry about not getting your name here. I'll find it after the show, and we'll shout you out twice the next time. He looked fresh. We want to keep him fresh for that second half of the season, right? Because in running back life, guys wear down. Wear down. Look at Carrion. Look at Gurley, right? And now even Christian McCaffrey, the issues that he's having, right? They get injured
out this week. He will not play.
He's
teaser for a Friday show. Yeah. He out.
Yeah, McCaffrey's been out. He's first overall pick in our dynasty league here. Been and you do a snake draft. So my first pick I'm playing is number 24 overall. Thank you very much. That being said, he's not played more than he's played. He's a young guy, right? These guys get hurt. The wear and tear on a running back in the NFL is incredible. And it's interesting how teams can devalue them when you talk about guys who give up their bodies for the sport and how they should be compensated. And then everyone says, oh, no, you never pay money for running back because they don't last long. It's like, but that's the opposite of what we're talking about all the time. Right?
So I'll put on my Browns hat for a second. There's a big debate going on now about paying Nick Chubb, who for my money is the best runner, not the best all-around back, but he is the best runner of the running backs in the NFL right now, either him or Derrick Henry. And there's a pretty steep divide on whether to pay him or not. That's the running back culture these days. So that's hopefully we get to that point with Deandre Swift. If he plays like he did on Sunday, we're going to have that conversation in a couple of years, and it will be a very pleasant conversation because it means that he's done damn good.
Yeah, there was a brief period of time where Kareem Hunt was a possibility for Detroit. Remember on the Senior Bowl? I didn't care about character. I wanted him so bad for the Lions. But anyway, here's where we are. Now, DeAndre Swift, looking really good out there.
Well, mostly. He when he gets the ball and he sees the hole, it's very, very good. When the hole isn't where he expects it, he's still he's not as great as he needs to be. Now that's not a DeAndre Swift slam. That's indicative of a lot of running backs in this league. A lot of really good running backs have that problem. I think we all got a little bit spoiled by Barry by being able to, just, okay, there's no hole. Yeah. I'm still going to go there anyways, and they're going to miss me.
The offensive line was an impediment for him. They got in his way of finding the holes. Yeah. No, he was great. I feel Swift has a little bit of that in him. I think he does.
What I like about Swift is that he consistently runs through bad tackles.
Yeah,
you're not going to get him down if you're trying to arm tackle him or if you're diving at his leg and you don't wrap. He's not going down. I like that a lot.
His spin move early in the season, I think it was the first game, he was a little early with it and got caught.
Yes, he was. Right? He would be finished with the spin, and he's just like, okay, down. See ya.
Last game, I saw it twice. He had it. It was the bounce spin go, and he left him behind both times. I think this kid is really, really, as they're saying in the chat, he's learning from AP.
Yes,
right. And yes, AP has been very helpful.
Yes, he is.
But I also think, and this I think this is part of the deal. We're keeping him on a pitch count, right? If you think about like Kamara, he only got 120 carries and 80 receptions in his first season, and there's some longevity there. I think that's the thinking here.
And look what they do. They still split him with Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray still gets 10 to 15 carries per week based on their game script.
And when you have
look at Baltimore, what they do with Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards and all the other people that they have in there aside from Lamar.
And Ingram and Kamara before in New England, right? I mean, that was always the plan. So
San Francisco rotating the guys in. Now they have health problems now, but they're running 3 running backs regularly. That's more of the trend of where we're going. Even Minnesota, look at what they did to us.
Yeah,
Alexander Madison killed us. Yeah. And that's with Dalvin Cook having a fantastic game. Yeah. It's great to have more than one. If you only have one, you don't have enough.
You don't have any. One isn't any, right? Two. You have 1, 3. Whatever, the backup gives you 1 something. I forgot how that goes, but whatever.
I'm not good at math either. Okay.
But the idea of keeping him on a pitch count and switching it up a little bit, I love that. I love what he's done. I like the idea of he's a little fresher in the second half of the season. I like the idea of him growing slowly. Look, when he dropped that pass against Chicago, you saw him carry that whole game on his face. It was all on him, and he felt it was him, and it was him. When that pass hit him in the back, it was, I think, the second game of the season, the third game, same.
That was New Orleans. Yeah. That one bothered me a lot because that means that he doesn't know the play.
Yeah.
And and you saw Stafford. Stafford did the reaction like.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
exactly. And that reaction isn't there anymore. He still drops too many passes, but he had a fantastic game this past week.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you think about it, how he struggled early in the season in his kind of mentally processing the pass game. That option route he did, touchdown, right? Amazing. Just amazing. He killed it. The kids had an opportunity to grow and mature a little bit this year on a team.
What he did to Jonathan Bostic's feet on that route.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh my God, that was great. But anyway, yeah. So his growth has been absolutely stellar. Has been just wicked good, and to have him fresh and growing and getting better. What does that mean? The story with New England, and I hate making these comparisons, right? But their story had always been they start slow and they build out through the season and get better. Here we sit with the same record as New England. I'm not saying that the story is panning out today. I'm not trying to give people an idea, but it's one timeline, right? And here we are again at a pivotal game for the Lions facing it. I mean, the Colts game was a pivotal game, and they choked it. It's Lions historically, right? For a decade and a half, it's been the most important game where you can prove you're turning it around and you choke it. This is kind of a game like that. This is that game. This is a game. All of a sudden, you bring this team to 500. I hate to say it, but the kind of confidence that they carry, it's the kind of thing that got the New York Giants at 9-7 a Super Bowl, right? Are we going there? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that's what gets you there.
No, I'm totally with you on that. And look ahead to Thanksgiving. They're playing a Houston Texans team. They're not good, guys.
Yeah.
They have a lot of problems on and off the field. A quick plug for my 10 cents column this week. Read the Fourth Cent. It's all about how they have completely botched their public relations department and lost a lot of player faith in the process, by the way. J.J. Watt will not be back there, and he might not be the only one who's not back there because of what they did this past week.
Huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's.
I hope he doesn't want to play with his brother.
They are being run essentially by a. How would you describe Jack Easterbay? He's like Joel Osteen, kind of, but not as wholesome.
Got it.
He's like a cross between like Jimmy Swaggart and like the negative qualities of Donald Trump.
There you go.
and he's running the Texans right now, and has their owner wrapped around his little finger, and it's that's very bad. So there's a very good chance that this team could win 3 games in a row. That would make them 7-6.
Yeah,
6-5.
One over 500. Yep. And 6-5 is getting now all of a sudden. So say let's just say you split with Minnesota and you split with Chicago, which is not unreasonable.
By the way, Chicago is trying out Deshaun. They're desperate enough at quarterback that they think Deshaun Kaiser's a good idea. We've seen that movie before.
Yeah. But so look, you take those 2 games that you get the split. All of a sudden, it's like, what the hell just happened with this team, right? And let's, you know what? We did Swift. We'll talk about Matthew Stafford's injury in a bit. We'll just make that a separate topic. Let's get into this whole thing. And I want to. This is from Trashman 1856 in the subreddit. I'm just going to throw this one out here, guys. It's time to start accepting it. Quintricia will be back next year, and he says, I don't know. Maybe if we lose the next 7 games in a row to end up 4-12, he gets fired, but probably not. Quinn, he's definitely coming back. Okay, both these guys have contracts that go through 2022. End of that season. It's 2.5 years. Whoever do you see get fired with 2.5 years left in their contract? And I'm like, that doesn't mean much. Here's where it starts to make a little. This next piece is why I wanted to include it. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna make me angry, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Stafford's contract also ends after 2022. Love him, but also want to upgrade from him at that point with a new regime. Why wouldn't you do it at the end of 2022? You have all the pieces going and switching out at the same time. That makes sense rather than trying to piecemeal it, because up until we got this, we've been kind of in that out of sync kind of phase with the Lions getting coaches and GMs and all that. That kind of lines those things up. His take is Quintricia gets the boot next year in 22 and 22. We draft the replacement for Staff Daddy. Staff Taddy got a tattoo of Staff Daddy.
That's certainly a viable path.
So
I can't dispute any of that.
So here you are. I mean, and really, you're looking at what, 10 to 15-ish pick What are you going to do? I mean, take a tight end? No. But, I mean, what are you going to do? It's not going to – you're not going to
set take a wide receiver, for the love of God.
You are not setting your next regime up for success with wherever we end up this year. You're just not.
So there is even if they lose out, they're not picking in the top 5.
Right.
They're just not. There's that many bad teams.
Think about how good they are to say at this week, this far into the season, if you lose out, you're still not picking in the top 5.
There are just so many bad football teams this year.
It's so, yeah, it is.
Look, I mean, look at
we're mediocre, dude. We're mediocre.
Yes, and I dare say that they have overachieved based on their relative talent level, which is.
It's a testament to coaching.
So I will say it again. I am not a believer in Matt Patricia. I don't think that it's going to work for him. But I will also say this, and I've said this consistently, there is nobody better to coach this current roster full of players than Matt Patricia is. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to ride with this group of players, and a lot of these guys are under contract for longer than just this year, nobody's getting more out of them than Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
So if you do have to factor that in, the fact that, I mean, if you look, let's take Bruce Arians, who's like in Tampa now and tearing it up. Well, sort of tearing it up. They go from
who's run out of Arizona, right?
Right. The Browns didn't want him. Think about that for a second. But it's like there are the people that are on this roster. All the expatriates, all the ex-Giants who are still here, they are very specifically here because Matt Patricia has that use for them, that function for them that doesn't exist in other places for those players.
Yep.
So if you bring another coach in here, you're going to have to dump like Danny Shelton. He's gone. Jamie Collins, no value. Duron Harmon, who's a free agent anyways, no value. But it's like Christian Jones got extended. No other coach is extending him because no other coach sees any value in what he does. No other coach is going to see the value in maybe Frank Ragnow because he's very good all around. But I do think that he's better in the system that he's in than he would be in certain other systems. He couldn't play in an outside zone scheme. That's just not what he does.
Right.
So the fact that the roster is so finely tailored to being Quintricia players, it does lend credence to the fact that Patricia maybe should come back. I hate saying that because nobody else is going to do it. And you can't overhaul the roster that quickly.
Right.
You just can't.
And so you look at all those things and you look at how things line up and you say,
they're coming back, aren't they, Chris?
They might be. They might be. And the thing is can you imagine the Lions fan base? If they do, right, it's just going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. But think about it. And again, I'm telling you, the team is mediocre this year. Think about that. Because there's a lot of bad football teams. We're not as bad as them. We could lose out and not draft in the top 5. So just think about that. There's probably those 5 teams getting new coaches and then a couple others, right? The market for coaches this year is going to be hard to compete. It's going to be so hard to get a good coach.
And think about this. Atlanta's already out there. They have more appreciable talent coming back. Now, I know Matt Ryan is, I think he's 3 years older than Matt Stafford, even though it was only one draft before him. Yep. They still have Julio Jones. They still have a decent core of young players that is going to be attractive to a coach.
Yeah.
And they have an owner, by the way, who is beloved by the players.
Yep.
Don't think that gets lost on the players.
And I don't think
Houston's a different case. They're going to have trouble finding anybody who wants that job with their ownership and management the way it is.
If Minnesota doesn't turn it around, I think they're going to be on the block. Zimmer's going to be on the block too. I don't know that Zimmer, after everything they did this season and spent to put this team together, I don't know if he doesn't, I don't want to say win out, but close to win out. I think that he's in a lot of trouble in Minnesota.
I can see that as well. And with the issues that he's had with his eyes, he's had very serious vision problems. I think he's had 5 surgeries or something like that. I could see him I could see them saying, "Hey, your eyes are bad, wink wink. Maybe you should move on."
Eyes are bad. Wink, wink. Did you really do that on purpose?
That was terrible.
Really, that's.
I'll wear the cone of shame for that later.
Look. Here's the deal.
Yeah, the Chargers are going to fire Anthony Lynn, and rightfully so, because he blows leads worse than Matt Patricia does. Right. He's a good coach, but that's an organization. They don't have a fan base anymore. They're going to play to empty fans even when fans are allowed in the stadium.
Yeah.
They have Justin Herbert, which is an attractive thing for a coach, but their defense is getting a little older, long in the tooth. They've got a history of yakking on things. Their owner, not exactly the most popular guy in the world after relocating.
Yep. I know who your guy is, and I'm not outing you. You called your shot, right?
No, I'll say it. I put it in the Slack this week. The guy that I want to be the head coach for this football team is Marvin Lewis, because he won in Cincinnati. Let that sink in for a second. He built a consistent winner with the worst owner in professional sports. And yes, the Brown family is much, much, much worse than the Ford family. Yeah. They are the epitome of cheapness. They are. You're lucky to get to stay at a Holiday Inn Express if you're part of the Bengals entourage.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. They would be flying coach unless the NFL made them fly private.
And I don't think the Fords are cheap. I don't think the Fords are all the problem in this organization. It's someone to blame that that's part of the thing.
That's a very lazy cop out by people who don't pay enough attention to what they're doing,
or that are just mad.
I hate that.
It's that tantrum thing.
They are indeed a common denominator. That's true. But I think that's more coincidental than anything else, honestly, especially in the last few years. Yeah. I will say that at the end of the Millen era, I think the enmity towards Mr. Ford was justified. But I don't think that you can have any of that towards Martha, and you certainly can't feel anything towards Sheila because she's never said a word yet.
Yep. Okay, I've got to go to the next one because it's by Screw Me 71. Is Patricia the most hated coach ever for the Lions? So going from they could be back next year to is he the most hated coach for the Lions ever? I think Bobby Ross had some real problems by everybody, right? Everybody.
I'm gonna say though that tough one. Marty take the win Morningweg is probably the lowest on that ladder.
God, I can't imagine. Oh wow. I forgot. I literally blocked him out. I repressed the idea of Marty.
Should. It's a very painful time.
Oh God, taking the wind.
Taking the
dome.
In
a
overtime.
No, it wasn't a dome.
I gotta look back at some of these because
we got to go back to when on Friday. We got to give Tony Ortiz. We got to bring up Morningweg somehow, and then say, taking the wind at the Metrodome. That's crazy because he swore to Dan. This story came out in the interview to Dan and Jim that there was a wind chill in the Metrodome. So we got to say we got to do that to him. That'll be fun. So a guy just wants to see him win, and he's like. The big fear is that fans hate seeing the Lions win because it means Patricia won't be fired. And what if they do manage to go 9-7 or 10-6 or something? And I just can't separate the look. I want them to win.
That's a discongruous thought to me because if it's working for Patricia, I'm going to be happy for him because like we said, we have seen him change. We have seen positives come out of it. Do I think he's a good coach? No. Do I think he's doing a better job? Yes. Those are mutually exclusive. Mm-hmm. But if they're winning, again, nobody taking over this roster, this team is going to do better next year than what Matt Patricia can do.
Yeah.
That's a fair statement. Now, if you want to burn it all down, pour on the gasoline on and do that, and I'm not opposed to that. Especially if they finish 5-11 or something like that, I'm fine with that.
Give you a third time to use it in an article too.
Damn straight. Thanks, Brian.
It's a great song, man. That tells me the team has a culture problem, but the fans do too. I get that we hate Patricia, but now we hate him more than we like the Lions winning, and that's such a
that's not
weird
healthy.
Place
that's not
be.
That's not a good place to be.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of another situation with that, and I can't really. Can you think of another situation in any pro sport like that, where they hate the coach so much that they want the team to lose even though they're winning?
Not since Morningweg.
they weren't really winning under Marty.
Yeah, no, they won. Yeah, So anyway, that's
they went what 5-11 one year.
Yeah, that was his best year.
Oh God.
Yeah,
that was
no,
Joey as a rookie, wasn't it?
That was
Mariucci.
Yeah, Mariucci was the offer. I can't vote against the team winning. I can't root against the team, right? To tank or whatever else. I can talk about, strategically smart moves to make, but I just can't say, okay, let's go out and win this game, right? Or go out and lose this game. I just can't get on that bus and push that one forward. Is Patricia the most hated? Yes. Let me say a better word than hated: polarizing. The word polarizing. I think the I like Patricia crowd is a pretty small crowd, right? I'll tell you that. But what's happening?
I'm not in it.
What's happening is if we saw this team start winning, you would see the polarization just like laser focused.
I would be happy to give him his due respect. I would.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to the interactions that we've had with him, the interactions that I've had with him in Indianapolis at the Combine. I want to like Matt Patricia a lot. I really do. But he's given me very little from the coaching front that tells me that I should.
To work with, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And now if he does it, yes, I'll take it. I'm happy with that. I want to win.
Yeah.
If he's the vehicle that drives me across that line, I'm riding it.
I'm riding it. Yep. With that, I gotta say, because in the Dan in the chats, that third string quarterback for Carolina is going to look like a Hall of Famer, probably throw close to 400 yards, like the one-legged wonder we just faced. I gotta. One-legged wonder.
Their third stringer, by the way, is PJ Walker, a guy that I wanted the Lions to draft.
I have to go right now straight to St. Jude, because part of that, Riz. Sandman was talking to you, and you said the game you never watched, the Matt Flynn Detroit Lions game.
That's a true story.
You were going to watch it and write a thing about it, and literally within 2 minutes of saying you would if we raised, 75 plus 25?
Yeah.
We got it.
Boom.
It was there. So just that's on the docket right now. You've got your Matt Flynn
I
game
will watch
on.
that. I don't have time this week, but it will. If my kids ever get back into school again, I will have a little bit more time.
All right. So that, what else happened? Well, we ate a bunch of Bean Boozles during the St. Jude thing, and those we're discussing. We'll have a montage of the reactions coming from that. We also.
Why would anybody create that?
I got a pie in the face. I got a pie in the face. My son got to do that. That was a good one.
That was sweet.
And what else did we do? There was you. Case gets one at 20,000. We did a couple things. We did a whole bunch of stuff. We're at we raised the $5,000 in the first 3 hours. Staff Taddy got a Staff Daddy tattoo. If you didn't see it, the video is on, and pictures are on the website, DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Look for it's like the third story down right now. Check it out. It's great. The video's there of him getting the tattoo, the pictures of the tattoo. He got himself a big old Staff Daddy tattoo on his chest. Thanks so much, Staff Daddy, for doing that. That was killer. So far, we're at $17,310. And how many cents, Riz?
69.
There's only one number. It's always it happens. If you look at the auction, a bunch of things, there's 69 cents there too. The guy, it's who we are as an audience in a group.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The auction is running right now. Go to auction.detroitlionspodcast.com. Everything isn't up yet. We've got, I think, 6 items: the Jeff Okudah football, the Deandre Swift football. We've got a mini helmet. We've got 2 Galladay jerseys, a color rush one. We got a Dan Orlovsky ball coming. We got a Wayne Font signed ball coming. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going to get added here. But auction.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get in there right now. There's stuff, and it's going to fill out over the next month next week and a half or so. A lot of stuff coming here. Just got shipped on Tuesday, showing up, and going to pop in there.
Christmas gifts for your Lions fan.
Big time. List. Auction ends on the 18th of December. We're going to try to ship them right away. The faster you pay, the faster you get your stuff. So, a little bit of an incentive there. But get in there, get that going, and let's get that. That's all money for St. Jude. Now, also, I just want to say, if you go to stjude.org/DLP and donate just straight cash there, if we get to that 20,000 mark, Case is still getting the pie in the face. And being the guy who got the pie in the face, I'd really appreciate it if you guys did that. It's not a solo. It's not a guitar solo here. This is something I want to see happen. So stjude.org/DLP. Look, our goal is 25 grand overall. We got to get a little bit more cash. The pie in the face is about where I think we need to be, and we're going to hit this auction.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get in there and do that. Riz is going to do his Flynn rewatch. Maybe we'll get some video of him watching that and get some reactions. And then he's going to do a story about it. So that'll be fun.
I will.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff, guys. And I want you to help us take part and help raise money for these kids. It's Christmas for the kids. There you go. St. Jude, help us out with that. All right. Let's see. One last thing about the team. Then we'll get to the Matthew Stafford injury, because I think this is in the same
team.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's the same coaching kind of world, which was more damaging. Okay, 9-7 is not good enough, or meaningful games in December. This is from Greg W., longtime Patreon listener.
I know that guy. Oh.
He's a good dude. We had a couple beers with him. He's a good dude.
He had cider. We had beer.
Well, he just had a baby too. You know how it is.
Yes, he did.
He had a potent cider. So which one is it for you, Riz? 9-7 not good enough, or meaningful games in December?
Meaningful games in December, because it's purposely vague, and I hate vagaries. I want concrete benchmarks. I want goals. I want carrots. I want carrots and sticks. I don't want mush. I don't want a sweet potato out there. I want something that says I need to achieve X, so Y happens. I don't need X to stay as a variable no matter what I'm plugging in for X. I don't like that.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. We thought we disagree on this, but I agree. Meaningful games in December. 9-7 was not good enough.
9-7 wasn't good enough. It shouldn't be good enough. This team needs to be. Did 9-7 get them anywhere, Chris? No, it didn't. It needs to be better. That's a true statement. And
it was kind of taken out of context, right? It's played back in a different context than what it was given, and it's just I hate. There's nothing I hate more than lies, disingenuousness. I got it out. Disingenuousness and lies.
Disingenuity.
Yeah, disingenuity. Thank you. And just outright lies. If you want to get to where I'll punch you in the face, you lie to me. Just do that, because that's the one thing you will lose me, and I get angry. That's bad stuff. So the whole 9-7 thing, I don't like it. That's more disingenuous than a lie. You know how people work it out. Meaningful games in December, absolutely, because we talked about it. Is part of our December-mometer and all that, because it felt like it was going to be more clear cut. It felt like the team was going to either perform or it wasn't, and we knew where it's going to be. And we're sitting here at 500, or almost 500.
They could be 6-5. There could be 7. There might be 8 playoff teams.
Yep.
8-8 could get you that last playoff spot. It could very well come down to the last game against Chicago.
And the thing is, I'm going to say it's more damaging, because it allows people to construct what they want out of it, and when what they want doesn't happen, it gives people an opportunity to be disappointed. Now, by the same token, you say they don't win 8 games, and that's it. We're firing them. Well, what happens if Matthew Stafford gets COVID and misses 4 games?
What happens if he breaks his thumb off?
Well, we'll get to that. That's completely out of the realm of what you could do as a coach for your team, right? So there has to be some ambiguity there. But this is meaningful games in December. Look, it's great for the press. Right. It gives them all kinds of things to write about and revisit when they're looking for something to do in the middle of the season. But I'll tell you, meaningful games in December is just not the. And I got to say, just breaking. Staff Teddy is in the chat, and he's going to match $200 of donations by the end of this podcast.
Nice.
So anything up to $200, awesome. He'll match it up to $200. So guys, pop in. Let's do this. stjude.org/DLP. Anything you can do, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you, Dan, for loving our talking heads and shoulders. All right.
At that point, I forgot it. Damn it.
Yeah, meaningful games in December, I think, was
meaningful games in December. So
especially with the season we've had and what's led up to it. I think COVID has a lot to do with a lot of the bad teams this year. I think great organizations.
We knew the Jets were going to be terrible. We knew the Jaguars were going to be terrible. Most of us thought that the Panthers were going to be bad, and they've lost 5 in a row. They're about to lose 6 in a row.
Preview on Friday's show.
and oh, by the way, they got the it boy as their head coach.
Yep.
Just saying, doesn't always work out.
Yep.
Nothing against Matt Rule, because I think he's going to be good, but there's only
maybe when he's in Detroit. Second job is always the good one, right? Yeah, no. It's it is.
I just think that 9-7 shouldn't be good enough, though, to go back to that part of it.
Yep.
And that team should have been better than that. And I think a lot of people have taken on, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and time has softened the people, and they forget how much they freaking hated Jim Caldwell and how bad of a job he did.
Game management. Oh God. Oh my God. It was horrible. And absolutely. And I think that's where it's at. I think no matter what you have, this is a bad time to bifurcate the fan base, but that's what's going to happen. And well, I didn't have disingenuity going for me, so I had to bifurcate it. This is going to be a tough year and a half, and I think you have that, as you guys have heard me do my riff on the kind of arc of a Lions fan, the demographic bubble of that Gen X, Gen Y, kind of the end of Gen X and early Gen Y group are coming to that point where there's all the kids, there's all the things in life that make it a heck of a lot easier to stop watching football. You're going to see, I think, possibly with this fan base, a lot of people just drop off, not to come back. Some will come back, right? Everyone loves jumping on a bandwagon or whatever when they're a winner. But I think what you saw this year and what the COVID brought was it shows you who the two truly exceptional teams are, who the best talented coached, who the best talented teams are, and who the best coached and the best GM teams are, because they're performing at that level. Anything that isn't absolutely great this year is performing less than great and less than good, and that's what I think you're seeing. And it's unfortunate, but it is the reality. This is what's ruined parity in the NFL this year. COVID destroyed parity, I think.
And just look at what happened in COVID today. The Raiders put a lot of players on COVID list.
The defense.
The Browns have 5 players on it. There's another team that has like 4 or 5 players that are on it now. It's and every team is under the intensive protocol. So all meetings now are remote. They have to wear masks even in the team facility when they're restricted, when they're wearing their little bracelets that they have to do, because COVID's everywhere. It hasn't gone away at the end of elections, unlike some people would have thought. That just didn't happen. Bummer.
It's a long, dark winter coming up.
It's well, pray for Pfizer, pray for all your vaccines, because hopefully they'll come soon. We can't get them soon enough.
I'm not going to get into the politics of it, because it doesn't sound like vaccines are going to be good enough anymore either. And we were just going to 15 days to slow the spread, and now I'm hearing vaccines aren't going to be good enough. I don't even know anymore. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to see what happens and do what I'm supposed to do until it's over.
We'll just hope that the whole nightmare ends sooner than later. That's all we can do.
God Almighty.
And pray to God that we get through it okay.
Yeah.
And it has definitely impacted the NFL this year. It's going to impact it more as time goes on.
The kids.
Can you imagine? Wait until the Thursday before a Sunday playoff game and an entire offensive line tests positive, and they're going to miss that game.
Yep.
That's going to happen this year, by the way.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll go on record and saying that right now. That's going to happen.
Yep. Yep.
What do you do with that? What do you do if you're the Lions and you win a playoff game because of that? Do you take that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I take it no matter how I
get
it.
Yes, you do. You take that and run.
There you go, Don. Now you heard him. It's crazy. And we talked about before the show how it's affected the kids and what we're seeing. It's just, this thing's a wreck.
And we both have kids that are in high school, and it's tough time. It's a tough time to be growing up right now.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. All right, so let's go. We get that 9-7 meaningful games. We got that. Okay, one more thing. Matthew Stafford's injury. We saved the best for last. But let me first tell you about fanatics.detroitlionspodcast.com and Amazon.detroitlionspodcast.com. Fanatics for all your gear. You want to get your hat, You want to get your Wings jersey? This is the year. The Wings got it this year. I
Don't
know
get
it's
that
coming.
alternate jersey where they inverted the colors. So that's crap. If you're gonna get one of those, get the Avalanche one with the Quebec Nordiques thing on it. Get the Hurricanes with the whale.
You know what I really really like of all the jerseys, the Michigan hockey jerseys, the sweaters. Those are the coolest. Those look really.
And by the way, they're good.
Yeah, they are.
They're really good.
Yeah. If you want to say go blue, do it in the hockey team. Do it in the Frozen Four.
Basketball will be good too.
Yeah.
I'm a Juwan Howard fan.
Good.
Not a Michigan fan, but I am a Juwan Howard fan, and I want to see him do well.
There you go. All right. Fanatics.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. That's where you go to get any of your good stuff. And any of your sportswear that you want to get, they give us a kickback. But it's the real stuff, licensed, all good stuff. Doesn't cost you more. Just helps us out. Helps us do the Senior Bowl and the other stuff that we do. And then also Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Same deal, but it's for everything but your sportswear. It's for, I don't know, get ready for the next lockdown. Get your goods at Amazon. But go to Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com.
I'm getting new headphones because these are crap. And I'm getting a new chair in the room that it serves as my office because we've had a little change in my house. My wife is now working from home permanently and took over my office. So I'm actually in her office now because she's got it set up because she's on Zoom all day and it's much better lighting in here. So,
can you imagine?
She's not here right now, so I'm taking over that. So I'm getting a better chair for where I sit now too.
Can you imagine if you guys would have bought into the tiny home debacle?
Oh my God! So we actually thought about, because my wife's really into that. We have 2 kids. We would have gotten 4 tiny houses and put them all adjacent around like a central area.
Right. And
I'm like,
just get the big house.
That's not a terrible idea, but yeah, I like having the big house. Not that our house is that big, but
right.
This is actually the smallest house we've lived in. But.
Every time I see the tiny house, I feel like the doors are like 5 feet tall, and I would just love to see you in a house
that's
that
the
was
thing.
built for that.
My son is 6'8". I'm 6'5". My wife is 6'2". We don't fit in a tiny house. There's just not enough room for you.
You're laying in bed, your feet in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Man. Anyway, yeah, just one thing. All right.
None of that crap.
Yeah, they're not available on Amazon,
sort of
but you should fill your tiny house with great items to hoard and stock up before the lockdown at Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. There you go. And also don't forget the auction.DetroitLionsPodcast.com for your stuff. All right, let's talk about Matthew Stafford's injury. He's fine.
Yes.
He's going to play. We teased it all game, and there's nothing to talk about, right?
He wants to play. He is fired up to play. He has a torn UCL in his thumb. And for those of you who are watching on video,
I was
right
waiting
there.
for uterus to come a torn.
It is what causes your thumb, I'm doing it backwards, to pinch in and be able to have grip strength. It's where your
you don't
thumb,
need that to throw a ball, though. That's good.
It's your tendon that controls the inside-outside flexion on your thumb. As I'm doing there, my thumb's all messed up, so don't look at it because I've broken that one before. It doesn't allow you to grip as strong if you don't have it. This is
that the one that shoots up your arm? The pain that goes up your arm?
Yes, it does.
He should try the CBD cream. That's what my wife has, and it worked great.
He should absolutely try that. It's commonly called skier's thumb because it's an injury that you get when you fall flat and you hyperextend your thumb like that. And that hurt. Lingering volleyball pain. I got volleyball fingers. They hurt like hell. That's why I need the CBD cream.
Yeah.
But it impacts your ability to have grip strength and pinching strength. Now, he doesn't necessarily need to pinch Frank Ragnow to let him know that the snap is coming, but he does need to catch the ball and grab onto it securely, and that can be a problem.
He's grabbing something.
Drew Brees had this injury and missed 5 weeks. That's the concern here. It can be surgically repaired. They will suture it to the bottom of your bone, and it decreases your range of motion, but it makes it so your grip strength is back. He did not have that. They're hoping that he can play through it, but it is. My worry is that he's not going to be able to run with the ball, and he's not going to be able to throw the Matthew Stafford like sidearm pass off. Improvisational passes will go away because he's not going to be able to hold the ball as properly as he would like to.
He's not been as successful
it's a limiting factor
as he was with Scott Linehan.
I think he will be able to play through it as long as he can effectively take a snap under center, and maybe they throw that away and and just say you're in shotgun all game, which hurts the running game, by the way. But if you'd rather have a healthy Matthew Stafford or a functional Matthew Stafford in the game than a good run game, I think we'll all take that trade-off. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick, no one's biting on the 200 match. If we get a $50 donation, then I'll send Chris an Aussie Rules football jersey if he agrees to wear it on the pod. I would absolutely wear it on the pod. I wear
Brisbane Lions, baby. They're good.
Yeah, there you go. I would do it. So someone, let's get $50 in there. $50. Yeah. That's an easy one. And you can see me wearing a Aussie Rules, and it gets us towards a pie in Case's face. I may just do an overlay and lie about that total, make it look like it went up when Case is on, just so I can see him do the pie in the face, and then tell him I defrauded him because I'm not doing this alone. Yeah. All right, there you go. Let's get $50 in there for the to get me in the Aussie Rules football jersey.
Do it.
So with the Stafford injury, let's talk about what the backup plan is. It's Chase Daniel against the third string quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. What could possibly go wrong? This deserves Aqib Talib doing color on the game.
I liked Aqib. I thought he did a good job. I really did.
There's two things that I took away from it. Number one, he could one day be as good as Tony Romo. I loved his insight. He did a really good job and had some really good stuff. But there's some other things. He needs to quit saying boof up in the boof.
I like that. It was candid. It was refreshing.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I want my announcers to be announcers. You know what I mean? Tony Romo, his thing used to be that drove me crazy in a fun way, just like with Aqib. It's fun. But what drives me, Sam, man, what are you doing here? Aussie Rules. There you go. $50 in there. Thank you, Sam, man, for St. Jude.
That's great.
I love that guy. Shit, I just made my own drop.
Oops.
Just made my own drop.
There you go.
But Tony Romo, he's like, I'll bet you $5 that they're gonna do a run up the middle here. I bet you $5 you got a slot receiver getting the ball over the middle. He was always trying to bet money while the game was going on.
He needs to be with
Jim
Al
Nance
Michelson.
is in there like he's
Jim Nance.
Yeah, he hated Tony in the first year. You know that he hated Tony.
You could tell there was some animosity there,
and I think it's because of that. The whole like.
I feel bad that I don't remember who the play-by-play guy was with Aqib, but I thought he was good too.
Fine, yeah.
Now again,
for the
bar
fourth
is Chris
string
Myers.
announcers for the
Chris Myers is so bad.
Yeah,
bad.
It was one of the better crews we've had this year.
I liked Aqib. I would certainly take him again.
I think a little more polish on him.
Yeah.
As many X's as he got, Mitch. As many X's as you got, brother. All right, so yeah, there we go. Ding, ding, ding. We got that Matthew Stafford. So yeah, the grip on throwing a football tends to be somewhat important, right? It's not, and the problem is as you said, as you push it back, you get that crazy pain. You're taking a snap over and over and over that's hitting that thumb. It's going to push that thumb and exacerbate the issue, which means probably no snaps in practice all week if we're smart about it.
I would guess
right?
not. I would guess he's not going to practice all week.
Right, and I don't know that I want him to take pregame warm-up snaps either. I mean, at some point you got to say he's done enough.
Warm the thumb up because they're going to give him a shot of Toradol so it doesn't hurt too bad. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you want him to be able to spin it. The other thing is when he throws the deep ball, and if you do the throwing mechanics, I'm doing it here for video aid, you do use your thumb more the longer you throw the ball because you're using it to rifle the ball a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that will be tough because he can't put as much pressure with his
Maybe
pinching
that's my
thumb.
problem because I'm using the laces in my fingers to rifle it, to give it the flip. That's interesting.
See, when I threw,
I could probably use.
I only ever had
if I use my thumb.
When I throw the ball, I don't have the ball with me. My fingertips would touch the bottom of the laces. That was it. I didn't grip the laces. I had my fingertips at the bottom of them. So when I let it go, it would just like spin like that.
You got Trump hands.
What? I have volleyball hands.
I never had problems getting around the laces. I'm just saying.
Oh, no, I've broken 7 of my 10 fingers. So.
Oh, God.
I will never be a hand model.
Oh, my goodness. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, Mitch, Sandman and Golden are my dudes, too. They're great. Really, really good dudes. All right. Huge hands. There we go. Okay, we got Matthew Stafford covered. We'll cover the injury. We will cover the official injury report on Friday at the game preview
We will be doing a game preview with Mr. Ortiz this week, will we not?
Yes, Mr. OTO Ortiz will be there. I have a couple things to talk about. The wind chill in the Metrodome is one of them. Carissa Thompson is another. I'm telling you guys, if you want a great, candid interview, Jim Brandstetter, Dan Miller, Tony Ortiz, they did not hold back at all when we talked. It was great behind the scenes stuff. And let me see. I got a great Tony drop here. I've got to pull this one out. Let me see if I can find it here. Where is you, Tony? Darn it! It's got to be here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, they told the story with this, and when Jim Brandstetter told it, he sounded like Orson Welles in the Peas commercial. You remember, if you ever heard that?
Oh my God, yes.
He was a little bit tipsy, and he got really angry at the read and didn't like the way they wanted him to read it. But Jim Brandstetter was in that voice when he told the story about this.
Green Bay, little old ladies, bratwurst cart outside of the radio studio.
So that is definitely worth your time to watch. So check it out. Yeah, good stuff. Candidness, I didn't expect it from Dan, right? I mean, Dan behind the scenes has always been 100% like
Dan is the
open and honest
guy.
and transparent, and
he's the best, man. Aside from being exceptional at his job, and he is an exceptional play-by-play man.
Yeah.
But he's also a really, really genuinely good human being off the air too.
Yeah. And he doesn't mind telling you the whole thing, right? He tells the whole story. And like with the one Lions player that we don't talk about, and some other things that we get information. There's things you just don't share, right? It's good to know, and it helps provide context and helps you get the things you get. But as a responsibility for the others' positions in life and not ruining those, you keep some things to yourself. Dan is a fabulous dude. Oh, this is going to get added to the auction. Sorry. Dan Miller is going to do a custom voicemail message for whoever wins that auction. So if you really want the best play-by-play guy ever on your phone, forever doing a message for you, you can bid on that. That'll show up here in the next day. So we'll get that on there for the auction. Good stuff.
My old neighbor Max is going to bid on that. I'll tell you that right now.
I like your old neighbor Max. So good stuff. I forgot how I got off onto that. I was going to tell something important.
It's not important.
It's not important anymore. All right, I think let's just call it a show, Riz. It's good. I could like fall asleep right now, and I just drank an energy drink, but I
just drank a 15.0 pumpkin stout brewed with real pumpkin from Brewery 424 here in Holland. It is exceptional, by the way. Give them your support. They're great people, even though they are Packers fans. They're good people, and they need your help. Please support your local restaurants. This is a very difficult time, not just in Michigan, but in other states as well.
Yep.
Applebee's will be fine. Al's Diner will not.
That's the thing. The box stores are all going to survive. The big one. Just go to your local place. Survive help your local people survive. That's where it's at. Really quick, I want to yell out to Colin Knudsen, 2 pints. You, Riz, especially, you've been awesome. Oh, thank you, Anonymous. Love my Anonymous. Oh, no, it's not 69. You got to fix that. Who else? Justin Rogers, Sandman, absolutely Sandman. He's so awesome. Brett Kuzno, Eric filled in for you a little bit, Riz, and that was really great of him on the fly to do that. Case was absolutely awesome.
It was great, and I wish I could have been there. Unfortunately, I got fired that day from my radio gig, and it was a bit of an emotional time. For some people that I'm very close to. So we wound up just bonding over that. But it was, y'all did a fantastic job. I watched a great deal of it. I even tuned in. So I was one of the 4 people watching at 3:45 a.m. because I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. Like, oh, they're still on.
Still doing it. It was live. We were still live. But I'll tell you what. Mitch. Oh God, Floundericious has just tossed so much money. Dave Griffiths is the biggest donator. Just everybody. Hattori has been throwing money at this like crazy. And I don't want to miss anybody. So please, if I did not say your name, I'm doing this on the fly off the top of my head. It isn't because I'm not thankful or don't appreciate what you do, and any of that. But you guys made this a super huge success already, and I just want to say thanks to everybody for your generosity. You folks are some of the most amazing people, and for us to be able to turn up this kind of money, just doing our goofy little podcast, right, about a team that just can't seem to win. it really means something, and it means something to me to be able to think about what we're doing for these kids, and that you guys were all stood up like that. So thank you so much for all you've done and pushing this thing so far. You guys are the absolute best.
Chris, we are all very grateful for the sincere effort that you put into this.
Yeah.
This was your baby. You wanted to do it. It meant something to you, and because of that, we saw that you cared, and that helped coax a lot of money out of a lot of people, and that's awesome. So thank you for doing it.
Absolutely. If there's one thing that we can thank Matt Patricia for, it was being the inspiration to make this all come together. With his donation at the combine, it was absolutely, and whatever happens with him, this yearly thing is all straight up due to him. So there we go. But thank you, Riz. That's I appreciate it. Good words. Nice stuff. On that, everybody else can just praise me in the chat, or if you'd like to send great notes to the
get on your knees and bow down.
There you go. With that, we'll close the show. Remember, we're looking for your involvement. Use the comments in the subreddit to give us your feedback. Otherwise, give us those 5 stars on those aggregators wherever you find the show. Friday's game preview is back. We'll be back with T.O. and the Riz. A great show on Friday. Gives you your prep, everything you need to get ready for the Lions on Sunday. It is the best show to prep for a game out there, period. I'm telling you straight up. Don't forget us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Head on over there, and as little as $1 a month gets you in there, gets to be part of the fun, and gets you into the Slack chat, the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. It may be the most intelligent rocket scientists and beer.
It very well could be
everywhere. Yeah, it is. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast, Instagram, Detroit Lions Podcast, and on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast. Don't forget, go hit that follow button, DET Lions Podcast, because it's the best place to see the Riz.
With no bands anywhere.
And me with a pie in the face. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, or call us on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. We'll get your message on the air. That's a good way to go, and it's a lot of fun. Also, don't forget to come to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can show up in your face or ears or wherever you put us automatically. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, because we're almost 500, and we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection.